Hello, my name is Crystal Petry, and you are watching another episode of the Crystal Petry Podcast, Season 4. Today on the podcast, we are talking about wellness in a way that you may not have heard before. Our guest, Hayley Hines, founder of Soul Sparkle Living, is helping women around the world redefine being through luxury. Redefine well-being. That's what it is. Let me try this again. Take two. Today on the Crystal Petry Podcast, we are talking about wellness in a way you may not have heard before. Our guest, Hayley Hines, founder of Soul Sparkle Living, is helping women around the world redefine well-being through luxury retreats, meaningful community, and what she calls the Sparkle System. Hayley is blending science and soul to help women build lives that are not only successful, but deeply supported and fulfilled. Welcome to the podcast, Hayley. How are you?
Thank you so much, Crystal. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So, Hayley, tell us, where in the world are you?
So right now, I am in a small village just outside of Florence, Italy, about an hour outside in the Tuscan countryside. It's
You are
beautiful.
absolutely the first person we have had from Italy. So,
Really?
yes,
Wow. I
yes.
love it. You're
I
global,
love
baby.
it too. I love it too. This is amazing for us on our podcast. So thank you. Thank you again. Okay, so let's get into it. Tell us about your journey, Hayley, and what led you to create Soul Sparkle Living.
So my background is actually in corporate wellness. My degrees are in that field with nutrition and master's in health management, and I was in that industry for about 25 years. And there were moments in that journey where I realized that life is more than just the biomedical model of well-being. It's not just diet and exercise, and then it was stress management, and we kept adding things to it. But what I realized is that there was an element missing, and that's when I created this framework. It's the biopsychosocial, which is the community and the connection part, the spiritual part, which I would say is the soul part of the work that I do, and the missing piece was the sparkle. It's that element of awe and wonder and whimsy and magic, the thing that is the essence of joy, if you will. And so by bringing those all together in a way that feels more available for women, it's been a really interesting way to kind of put them on their own little magic carpet ride, if you will.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you are living in Italy while running this business. What
Mm.
inspired you to move and what inspired this lifestyle?
So I actually, it started as the intention was a 90-day little sabbatical. So I had a fancy corporate job. I had started my Soul Sparkle business on kind of parallel paths, right, as a lot of us do. And I decided to quit that job, put my things in storage, and I was just going to go for 3 months.
Mhm.
So I booked a one-way ticket to Italy. I was helping a friend with one of her culinary nutrition retreats in the southern part of the country. And then I came to Florence, uh, met my now ex-husband, and then I just kind of kept coming back and forth and back and forth. And then I finally moved here full-time in 2022. And yeah, so it's been kind of a grand adventure, but one filled with divine assignments and divine appointments is what it feels like to me. Yeah.
What happened? Was there a moment? Was there something you thought when you realized women needed a different approach to wellness? Because I feel like the wellness, if you will, in quotes, that women are doing or pursuing, it's been around for so long and it's been the same thing for so long. What happened that made you look at that model and say, something needs to be different about this.
Yeah, well, I think from the time we're, able to understand biology and
Hmm.
physiology, we're taught, you should eat this and not that, and you should move your body and exercise and 30 minutes a day and da 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 da. We're taught all these rules and things
Yes.
around behaviors. Then what we realize is that there were actually other things that were driving the behavior. So, for example, a lot of women suffer from anxiety, depression, stress, like high levels of stress, and they're not really given the tools, proper tools, to support themselves through that process. So, what happened is those stress triggers were causing them to maybe eat more, drink more, not sleep very well, and not have time to exercise. So it was kind of starting this little cycle, right?
Mhm.
Then we looked into the research around social isolation. And I will say this is the piece that I still think today is such a huge issue for women specifically. We are not in community anymore. Our ancestors used to do life together, generational
Yes.
quilting groups, church socials, and all those community based
Yes.
things that we have just gotten away from. And our lives are very isolated. We're very independent. You've got single moms that have no support. And that creates, Crystal, a worse outcome for your health than smoking.
Really?
You
Wow.
can, research shows that social isolation is worse for you than smoking. Okay. So when we take all of that data together and then we look at the research that shows the people that have some type of spiritual connection, whether it be you have a meditation practice or a prayer practice or quiet time, or you go to some kind of service, or you're part of a spiritual community, those people have better health outcomes as well,
Hmm.
right? So when you weave all of that together, it just makes sense that that old model of just talking about your blood pressure and your body fat and how many vegetables you're eating every day, it's a much bigger picture, and it has to be a broader approach to our overall well-being versus just these isolated silos, because it's all connected. Just like we're all connected in our own bodies, it is our body, it's our mind, it's our spirit, it's our soul. And so to me, it just is a much more holistic and expansive way to look at well-being versus just these little tiny slivers of eat better and exercise.
Hmm. And, I will speak for myself, but the whole eat better exercise thing, I am so tired of hearing that narrative. Like, it has to be something different. And what
Yes.
you are offering is completely different, completely different. So, with Soul Sparkle Living, Hayley, explain to us, what transformation do women experience through that?
It is such a range, but it's powerful based on where they begin and what they actually want their life to look like. So, for
Mhm.
example, a lot of women will come with this intention of, I want to feel better in my body, I want to have a healthier relationship with my beloved, or I want to build a business that will support me with ease and grace where I can make the highest impact for humanity. Like, it's
Mhm.
such a broad range. And what I've realized is when we walk through this framework, there are usually things in each of those categories that we can help them implement that will create that lasting change. So it's almost like the gap, the perceived gap from where they are right now
Mhm.
and where they want to be. And I'm just kind of the bridge that helps them walk across the water to get to the other side.
Right. Okay. So something you do through your Soul Sparkle company is you host luxury retreats. So two questions here. What is your definition of luxury retreats, and how are they different from traditional retreats?
Well, I think when you talk about the word retreat, again, there's such a broad um, industry, if you will, from
Hmm.
and everything from staying in campgrounds and doing yoga and
Yes.
meditation to 5-star, fully luxurious, fully staff supported, personal chefs, that kind of thing. So I would say that is a really broad spectrum,
Hmm.
and I actually personally think that everyone defines luxury a little bit differently, right? What it means to me could be completely different for you. So I would say at the bottom line of what ours create is
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity for the women to feel completely cared for, completely supported, nourished, where they don't have to think or do or be anything. Because our whole lives is do this, be here, do that, da da da. Take care of everyone else all the time, most of our lives, right? By the time we're old enough, it's like
Yes.
maybe you get married, then you have kids, then you have to take care of your parents that are on the other side, like transitioning. Like it's just this constant giving. And so I think what I would define ours as, yes, they are beautiful. Yes, we stay in lovely accommodations and have incredible meals and beautiful experiences. But I would say the reason why women come back over and over and over and over again is because I care for them in a way that they probably have not been cared for in a really, really long time, if ever.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of women, if you can give us like some background, what kind of women are drawn to your luxury retreats?
So I would say those that know that they have something either to experience that they haven't yet for themselves. They want to feel a certain way that they don't feel, and giving themselves permission to come and have that experience, that transformational experience, is something they've had maybe on their vision board or their bucket list for a long time, right? The others are, depending on the topic of the experience, are women that know that they're meant to kind of play a bigger game, if you will, serve more people, be more visible, and they're trying to map out and figure out how they can step more fully into that. So I would say there's a couple of different groups, but for the most part, they have a passion for adventure. They love to travel.
Mhm.
They want to have these experiences. They know that they've been dreaming of this for a long time. But sometimes it's scary to travel internationally by yourself. Like I'm crazy. I booked a one-way ticket and never came back. Like it's just like that's not normal. And that's also not required for your own soul sparkle life, right? So
Mhm.
what I'm able to do is give them these little mini experiences that are deeply transformational and deeply nourishing for them on a lot of levels. And they go home and they're just like, oh my gosh, now my life is different from now on. It's changed me. And that to
Mhm.
me is the most important thing.
Haley, you talk about a sparkle system.
Hmm.
Explain to me what is a sparkle system and how did you come up with that?
So it's based on your nervous system, right? So
Mhm.
we all have the ability to regulate or dysregulate our nervous system. Most of humanity is dysregulated, if you will. I call it the sparkle system because I feel like words are incredibly powerful, and what we speak, we anchor in, right? So we call it the sparkle system because that allows it to feel a lot more light and effervescent, if you will, and
Mhm.
happier than feeling like, oh my gosh, I've got to do all this healing. My nervous system is broken. A lot of people are hearing a lot of that right now in the market. And so what I did was just change and tweak that language and then create practices that will support the regulation of that system. So, grounding, somatic therapy, movement, breath work, meditation, things that will help you stay in your heart, in your body, grounded. So, as things happen in the world, which they obviously are,
Right.
we we are able to somehow bring ourselves back to center and be the calm in the middle of the storm, because that's what the world needs us to be, is the grounded, rooted peace within, because we know as within so without, right? So
Mhm.
the more peaceful we can be, the more grounded we can be, the calmer that we are, the more we can emanate that peace and grace to the world. So that's the essence of the sparkle system, and how it got its name.
What does, and at the beginning of the conversation, you were talking about how important community is and being in groups with people. What does a supportive women's community look like when it's done correctly?
So that's a great question, and I just this year put together basically what I do. And I don't know about you, but I create the things that I want to experience myself. And I knew that in my own life, I wanted to be surrounded by incredible women that are real and authentic and honest and vulnerable, and where we can have real conversations about things that matter versus performative, right? Because I think a lot of times we feel like we have to be perfect. It has to be, everything has to be right, and we can't just be ourselves. And so for me, I created what I call it the society, and it's like a little private social club for women. And it's, yes, we talk about business, and yes, we talk about things, but for the most part, it's just life, right? It's doing life with other women that
Yes.
have kind of like-minded, they're open-hearted, they're open-minded, they're loving. They might have big dreams and visions, but they just really want to be around people that they can say, hey, I closed this huge deal, or I'm taking my family on this amazing trip, and I am celebrating this experience that I had without any fear of judgment, right? Because I think a lot of times we feel afraid to celebrate ourselves, which is heartbreaking, especially among women. I'm like, can't we just be, it's 2026. Like, let's be over that. We're
Yes.
done with that. So it's supportive and it's loving. And they also have a passion for travel like I do. So that's an element as well. So it's this beautiful hybrid of in-person and real life, which I think, circling back to your question, we need to be in real life together.
Mhm.
I mean, this is lovely to be able to communicate, connect with you virtually, but
Yes.
man, there's nothing better than heart to heart and belly to belly, right? With a physical connection, the hugs, the I see you, I'm with you, and magic happens when we're together, especially as women, when we gather together as women and let ourselves just love on each other in a very pure, beautiful, connected way. And so that to me is something that anyone that's listening, if you're craving community, finding one where you can be yourself and be authentic and be real and honest about where you're at in your life, and also be able to spend time together in IRL as well.
Hmm. I feel like that leads directly into my next question, Hayley, about social wellness.
Mhm.
Explain to us what is social wellness and why is that so often overlooked in conversations in general, especially when we're talking about wellness?
So when going back to what we spoke about earlier with kind of that biometric model and that, psychologic model of well-being, that's what the industry was based on. So when I got into it 30 years ago, that's all we were talking about. And I don't think we understood the
Mhm.
impact of social connection on overall well-being. And like I said earlier, it's worse for you to be alone than to smoke, which to a lot of people is shocking
Yeah,
because
to me too.
so many of us we live alone, or we're by ourselves, especially as people work remotely. The last several years have just been very isolating for a lot of people.
Hmm.
And so when we talk about social wellness as a trend, right, because that's one of the things I always love to think about is what's next, what's coming. And that to me is going to be a huge part of programs, of communities, of how we do life together. So we'll start to see more and more of what they call like this third space. So for example, you have your home as your first space. You have your office, your work kind of as your second space. Then there's this wave of kind of this hybrid of the gym, the coffee shop, the bar, the club, and
Hmm.
restaurants, and all this kind of mashing together, if you will, right? So you're seeing now it's not just a gym. You don't just go there. You're going to go somewhere that has all these other amenities, where you're going to have that as your socialization, your fitness, and your possibly your workspace too if you're working remotely. So we're seeing more and more of those places coming online and popping up around the world, so that people have another place to go that's not necessarily the bar, because fewer people are drinking these days. They may not want to go to big fancy dinners, but they want to have a happy hour with maybe a
Right.
mocktail. But they want to go home and go to bed at like 9, like me, so that I can wake up and be like super smart the next day. So the culture is shifting to this an element of socialization, social well-being that is being embedded into the rest of society, which is a wonderful thing, right?
Hmm.
So that way if you're at home by yourself, maybe you either have a workplace that you're going to, but then you can also maybe have one of these, again, these kind of private clubs that people can go to, or a fitness themed experience, but that is an expanded experience than what we're used to. It's no longer like the 24-hour fitness is the thing where you just go in, you do your thing, and you leave. No, you go, you have a coffee or a matcha or something. You might work for a few hours after your workout. You might have a sauna. There might be people or activities in the sauna, like more social. It's
Hmm.
just kind of this weaving, Crystal, into every part of our life, this social wellness idea and concept. And I think it's just going to continue to grow, truly.
Oh, I love that entire idea that you just said. That would be
Isn't that cool?
wonderful.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what would you say, Haley, are some other pillars that are missing with well-being when it comes to women? You've spoken great about the connection aspect, the social wellness aspect. What are some other pillars that you feel are missing in this conversation?
Well, I would say that the first thing is that the majority of the research that has ever been done around health and well-being has been on men,
Hmm.
not women. So when we talk about the sparkle system, when we look at the nervous system structure, our as women, our structure is completely different than men. However, no research has been done on women until recently. So we've got a lot of conceptual and scientific studies and research that has not actually been done on the female body.
Hmm.
So I think what we're seeing right now is this shift and trend to, well, we're not the same biologically, emotionally, spiritually,
Clearly,
anything, clearly, and hormonally. Like it's completely ridiculous to think that we would create programming and education for women the same way we do men. It makes no sense, right? So I'm seeing a shift in that, that is giving more voice and recognition to the needs of the feminine. We're seeing more of a rise in the offerings, right, around menopause, more conversations about, I mean, I don't know about you, but none of my friends, no one talks about it. Nobody talks about it.
no.
I literally had to call my friend and be like, okay, I have a question for you because I don't know where to go to get this information. She's like 4 years older than me. And we had the most honest chat. I was like, cool, now I actually know what to expect. The fact that that's the reality for education for women around this massive shift in our life, in our entire
Yes.
physiology, right?
Yes.
That is crazy. And so I think we're going to see more and more of those conversations and the preparation and the treatments or the support, also around fertility. I think there's going to be a much greater level of support for women than there is right now, frankly. And right now, what we do is, especially infertility treatments and things like that, that is a incredibly uh, emotional journey for women. It's a very expensive journey for women that they have to go through, and we're not preparing them in advance for either nutritionally to prepare their body. We're not preparing them emotionally for what happens if it works, if it doesn't work, what do you do? Like there's no
Right.
support. I think we have just, as women, as a collective, been underserved by the current model. And I think now we're starting to see that shifting. And my hope is that it will just continue to go down a path where women feel heard, people will listen to them versus say, oh, it's in your head. They will
Hmm.
feel seen, they will feel understood, and there will actually be resources available for them to get the help that they need at the time that they need it. That is my hope and my dream as we move forward. So hopefully that's the case.
You talk about blending science as well as soul within
Mhm.
your company. Can you explain that to us?
Sure. So kind of like what I've mentioned, these little snippets of the science and the research, how do we bring
Hmm.
that through, but also know that there is another multidimensional layer to it that we can't we can't necessarily see or
Mhm.
prove or read about in the research, right? So what I like to do is have a very grounded understanding of what the research or what's available and what, quantum physics and all these things, but also to know that there is this element of kind of back to that awe and wonder and whimsy and miracles. We can't always quantify and like make it make sense. It doesn't always make
Right.
sense. And we just have to be open to trusting that we do the best we can with the information that we have. And then we just trust and surrender and allow whatever is supposed to happen. Right. So it's kind of this hybrid of the two.
With the women that you work with, Hayley, the women that attend your luxury retreats, what are you seeing as far as challenges that they are facing mostly? And I know that it's different because you have different women that are coming, but what do you see the challenges, maybe two or three that are common that they are dealing with?
So I would say energy management
Mhm.
is a big one. Being able to figure out how to do it all, um, and allowing themselves to have support. Those are a couple of common themes, I would say, because again, our mindset has always been you can do it. You can bring home the bacon, you can fry it up in the pan, you can keep your house clean, you can take care of the kids and keep it all together,
So
right?
much.
I mean, that's been the cultural norm, the societal
Yes.
norm for decades, right? And so I think the other thing I'm seeing is more and more women that are realizing that that's an unsustainable model, and the expectation on women to be healthy, be sexy, be fashionable, be all of it, keep the house lovely, plan all the things, and not have any support. It's just it's physically impossible. We're not designed that way. And so
Mhm.
reorganizing their lives, I've had a lot of conversations recently with women that are like, maybe they're divorced or they're in transition out of a relationship, and they're like, I'd really rather just like have a bunch of ladies come together and we support each other, and so I have this dream, as an aside, that I could create these opportunities for women to just live together, and we like hire support, like hire a chef and maybe a I don't know, someone that would help bring prosecco to the poolside, or you know what I mean, just like be taken care of, right? So like an
Yes.
elongated retreat. So it's not just a week, it's like a lifestyle
Hmm.
where there is this kind of this wellness theme to it, where maybe there's some spa treatments and a sauna and morning meditations and healthy food, but also this fun hybrid side, and where it's fun and we laugh and have a good time, and it doesn't feel stressful, like we're doing life together versus everyone's doing it in their own individual pocket. So I'll keep you posted on that if it happens. So
Please do. You are speaking my love language on this
really.
podcast. My
Okay, I love it. I knew we'd have a
yes,
good time. It's so
yes,
great.
yes. Okay, so for the women and even the men who have women in their lives,
Hmm.
how can they build these support systems? Perhaps maybe they can't make it to your retreat. How can they
Right.
build these support systems wherever they are
Hmm.
while running the demanding businesses, while running the household and feeding the kids and planning everything and working out and all the things, all the things.
All the things. So one of the topics that I love to talk about is this concept of neuroaesthetics, which
Mhm.
means back to the sparkle system, right? Creating an environment where you live that will be supportive to your body, right? Your
Yes.
energetic body. So, for example, I personally am incredibly sensitive to light and sound and temperature and all the things. So, creating a space where the light is never super bright. It's calm lighting. It's, ambient lighting. It's not fluorescent lights. There's no beeping. Anytime there's like beeping, repetitive noise or like loud noises, creating a space where your nervous system can just automatically kind of down regulate, right? So creating a home that's peaceful, first of all. So not cluttered. Maybe you're getting linen sheets and bedding because linen is the highest frequency. Okay, so getting rid of synthetic fabrics. So there's all these little things that they can do to create an environment which will already help them be calm and grounded. So that's like phase one. Easy,
Okay.
right? Change your lighting, change your
Mhm.
sheets, right? Change your environment. Keep it calm, keep it quiet, no loud music, don't turn on the TV, that kind of thing. So that's this phase one. And then I would say phase two is, and that would be helpful for the men to know, because what do? They come in, flip that TV on, blast it on loud, and
Yes.
all craziness breaks loose, right? So they don't understand how we process the environment, right? Okay, so that's phase one. Then phase two would be figure out the ways that you can create um, space. Create space. So, for example, especially in the US, it's easy to have groceries delivered or to
Mhm.
have a meal service here and there. So finding ways to where you can eliminate having to get in the car, drive to the thing, get it out with all the people, park and blah, 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 right? Think about things that you take up your time that you don't actually have to do.
Mhm.
So those little conveniences make a huge difference and will create a lot more space in your day. So
Yes.
like,
I
I
love
think,
those. Yeah.
that's easy, right? And then I
Yes.
would say if you have a partner, getting them on the bus for collaboration, right? Whether that's a monthly or weekly housekeeping support, or it's, hey, honey, I'm going to do dinner. I'm responsible for dinner these 3 nights. You're responsible for these 3 nights. And the last night we go out. And if you want to go out on your nights too, we can do that. But I'm only going to be cooking, preparing meals 3 nights a week. Like that
Mhm.
kind of conversation and that
Yes.
level of honesty and boundary. Because again, when a woman is asked over and over and over, and this might be a little PTSD showing, but it's like, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? What's for dinner? After you've already taken care of everyone all day, you've already gone to work for all the day, and you're exhausted. You need to be able to have that conversation and not feel like you have to do it all the time by yourself. It's just not a realistic model for a lifetime,
Mhm.
right? For short periods of time, yes, you can power through and you can do it. But for the long game, it's not sustainable. So those are just some things that I would suggest if women are trying to quote do it all,
Mhm.
they need to know that they can't. They can organize things and they can have things delivered and they can create a supportive environment. But at the end of the day, they're going to need help in executing that. So, hope that's helpful.
Yes, absolutely. Haley, why do you think traveling and stepping away from your daily life and your daily doing everything is so powerful for personal growth?
I think the first thing is perspective. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when we're in it, it's like being in a fishbowl. You're just in it, around and around and around, doing the same thing all the time, over and over and over, right? When you're picked up and taken out of your environment and dropped into something new, it shifts your perspective in a way that I don't think is possible unless you're removed from your own space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if anything, it at least amplifies it and accelerates that perspective, right? And you see how other people live and how other people do life and what they're eating and how they're living. And at least for me, the pace in which life happens in Italy, for example, versus, New York or Dallas or wherever where I've lived, it's it's remarkable. It's remarkable how much more relaxed. And you start to realize kind of again this down regulation of the go, 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 do, 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 do.
Mm-hmm.
There's less doing, there's more being, there's more calm, there's more connecting. Every night they call it aperitivo, where you go and have drinks and snacks with all your friends. Everybody goes. Everybody in the little
Wow.
town, all the little bars are open for aperitivo time. It's like happy hour. You meet
Hmm.
everybody for happy hour, and then you either go out to dinner or you go home and have dinner or whatever. But those ways of doing life, that sticks with you. And then maybe you take that back to your environment and you think, okay, knowing now what I know about what's possible, how can I incorporate some of this into my world and versus having to sell everything and leave the country. I mean, you can do that too, but you don't, you know?
Yes.
So it's this bringing these pieces back from other cultures and other places that you loved the most and incorporating them into your world every day. So that's what I would say is one of the biggest blessings of traveling is to experience something outside of your own culture.
Mhm. You have been living in Italy for some years now. How has that shaped and helped your personal wellness journey?
I think part of what I was just talking about, just the pace and the
Hmm.
space. There is no rushing here. You ease in to the day. You enjoy the coffee. It's like ritual here. Coffee is like life,
Hmm.
and food is life. And then you go and you do the work piece. This is for regular, people that live here full time all the time, and then there's long lunches. It's a lovely. There is no like eating at your desk in 12 minutes and being done. Like,
What?
no, no. You sit, you dine, you have wine, you rest. Then you go back to work and you do the thing. Then you go to the aperitivo and you have the snacks and the drinks and you have dinner. It's like the whole uh, structure of life here is around connection and community and a connection with the land and the food and nature. And they have this other thing at the end of the day where everyone walks. They all go for like a walk for like an hour, hour and a half, either between happy hour and dinner or after dinner, and just, which is one of the most healthy things you can do. I don't even know if they
Yes.
think about that, but for your blood sugar, that's what the research shows. You should walk at least 15 to 30 minutes after you eat for everybody. And they just naturally do that. And they're talking, talk, 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 talk. And they just chat, 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 you know? So I think it's inspired me to create a life where I can build community and I can connect with other people, which is challenging sometimes if you don't fully speak the language yet, but I'm learning. And so I would say from that perspective, I've learned the power of the connection and conversation and community and the power of eating food that is made with love, from love and intention, and makes all the difference in the world. And it's slow eating. Enjoy the
Mhm.
meals. You don't just fill your stomach, you enjoy the cuisine. It's beautiful,
Yeah,
really.
that's direct opposite of what we do here in America, which obviously I mean,
Yeah,
lunch is a
slam it.
blaze. If you
Yeah,
get a lunch, it is a
right.
blaze to get through it. Yeah.
Right. And that's the expectation. I saw somebody posted something on Facebook the other day. It was like a guy was new to an office and he took his lunch hour the first day of work and he took it was only like 30 minutes or maybe an hour, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. But he ate his food and then he sat and he read a book and he relaxed for his time. It wasn't over the time, it was his
Hmm.
time. And when he got back to his desk, he had a note from his boss saying, "Oh, by the way, we know they say there's 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, but we don't really do that. No one really takes that time, and it doesn't really look good for you to do that. So if you could just, finish your meal and go back to the desk."
Wow.
And I'm like, "You said that out loud? Oh my God.
Wow.
But you're right. That is the expectation, and it's a terrible expectation. It's
Hmm.
not right. It's that culture needs to shift into one of more like relax. You have to be able to relax during the time that you deserve it. So it's crazy.
As we get ready to wrap up here, Haley, I have a couple more questions for you. What is your intention in this space of soul sparkle and blending science and soul for the betterment of women and their wellness?
Well, I think anytime that we can use information that is going to be of highest benefit for women, we need to do it. Now, do I think it's all comprehensive? No, but I think bringing that element in, having a depth of understanding of what is of benefit for women to do, and then allow them to have that deeper connection with the truth of who they are. I think the word radiance always comes to mind because to me, that is the thing that creates radiance, right? It's the doing of the practices and the thread of well-being throughout the life part, but then also the recognition and the permission of being their truest, most authentic self and stepping fully into the truth of who they are. To me, that's the sweet spot of Soul Sparkle living. It's the soul and the sparkle, right? The merging of the two, which is super fun.
Yes.
That's totally my jam.
Yes, you've made it mine too, just doing this conversation.
Come on, darling. Come on over to
Yes.
me.
Okay, so my last question for you, Hayley, who do you think would make a great guest on the podcast? But you have to help me get them on.
So I already connected you with one friend, April Adams Pertwee, but also I think my sweet friend Joanna Blackstock would be incredible. First of all, she's fabulous. She's been my dearest friend my whole life. So, but she loves to travel. We have traveled the world together for 35 years. So I think she could be a super fun guest for you as well. So I'll connect you with her.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Hayley, for giving us a different way. And by us, I mean women specifically, giving women a different way to think about our wellness and our well-being. Yes,
It was a pleasure to
thank
be.
you.
Thank you so much.
And to my community, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. You can get Hayley's podcast as well as all my other podcasts on YouTube Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And remember, you always have time to listen and learn on the go.